Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for short. Hey, it's lists time, end of the year, end of 2023. And if you know our lists, you know we have albums, we have EPs, we have live performances, but we also do something else. We have a top 10 tracks of the year, individual tracks by bands that may not or may not be featured on albums that are our favorite or best or anything like that. Just 10 tracks that either you find you're listening to a lot, you just love, and these are them, basically, individual tracks from bands. And we're going to give you our top 10. 10 from me, 10 from Brendan. It is as simple as that. Nothing complex about this at all. So I'll start this list off with my 10th one. And it is from the album Descent by Orbit Culture. It's Orbit Culture's new album. And it is the song Vultures of North. This was released as a single previously leading up to it. And I was blown away by this. It is so fucking heavy. That dun, 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 just that beat gets me every time. Can't wait to hear this live. Absolutely love it. Still listen to this all the time. It's a proper, like, just G's me up song. So yeah, Orbit Culture, Vultures of North is my number 10.
Oh, wonder if we'll have any crossover in this one.
I reckon we might actually, because there's well, you know what? Yeah,
we'll find out. So my number 10 is a song called. Well, I'm not going to name the song just yet, right? So the band is a band called Light Lawn. They are a Swedish band. Classed as, I don't really like the word that much, but it does kind of sound like this when you listen to it, but it's cosmic black metal. Very much in the post sort of bit arena. And now because of that, now I'll say the name of it, because I think when I say the name of the song, you go, oh, that sounds like a post black metal sort of song, right? So the song is called Spiral Arms Like Swirling Rivers. I was like, if I say the name of the song,
pricks.
You know what sort of music that is as soon as I say the name of the song, I reckon. So yeah, it comes from the album At One with the Night Sky. It came out in late September this year. Very much atmospheric music designed to play with you emotionally. You know, it's meant to be a mix between light and dark, stirring it group. Gloomy sort of at times, serene at times, aggressive at times, and you know, obviously playing that kind of post black metal style, it kind of works very well for that atmospheric stuff anyway. The album itself is great. This song it's probably the standout one on it, at least at the moment. I think this is one of those albums that you know I'll end up with multiple favorites from it at different times. It's the shortest one on it, but like it's one of those albums that songs are long on it, so this is a short one, but at like sort of 6-7 minutes long. You know, so it's like, oh, it's a little baby one.
A breather.
You know, it's punchy. It's got really, really heavy vocals, black metal vocals, black metal style vocals, powerful riffs, loads of bass and insane drummings. Then it'll suddenly drop off into like an expansive sort of soothing melodic section. Then come back for a huge solo. There's bits of synth in it. There's pianos that lead you out in the outro. You know, it's one of those ones that just kind of goes up and down in waves throughout the whole song. It's very, very accomplished. That's my 10th.
There it is. Speaking of accomplished, my number 9, and it is, of course, the sci-fi extreme metal band Wallowing. It is the song Earth Reaper, excuse me, from the album Earth Reaper, the latest release, of course. If you know the album, you know why I've chosen this song. It is because Earth Reaper itself is an album designed around this specific song. Every track leading up to this is all about, it's basically an introduction, parts leading to this 20+ minute track, which is wallowing in its everything about wallowing in that track. You want to understand this band, you want to get some idea what they sound like, just listen to Earth Reaper specifically. The chaos, the carnage, the sci-fi extreme stuff, the noises, the unique elements they add to it. There's a cinder block somewhere on this album. I don't think anyone's found it yet. They keep asking and wondering, everybody's found where the fucking cinder block is. I think it's a cinder block anyway. Yeah, Earth Reaper, number 9.
Cool. My number 9 is the song is called Vindictive Retribution. This is by the band Carthus, from their album Images of Tyranny, which came out in July. So they're an Aussie band from Melbourne, 5-piece, kind of class themselves as playing a mix of subgenres, like a lot of bands do these days. But like it's a nice sort of standard list, I think, for me. Like it kind of works. Kind of grew up. I think the bands sort of say they grew up like you know when you read a lot of these things and sort of the press kits, they grew up as fans of like bands of the likes of like Megadeth, Pantera, that sort of stuff, and Monomath. And that's kind of inspired them to do that. Part folk, part power, part groove, part death. But it's only little in parts. In fact, if I was going to like kind of categorize these as a band, they kind of remind that, or like a genre that it's probably for me the closest to just like, oh, this is like what we used to just call heavy metal. Yeah, so this song in particular, I mean, the album itself is really, really strong, but this song in particular is just really, really catchy. It's got a very, very heavy beat. It's very riff driven. It's like very much about the riff, very much like the sort of song that it's sort of thing I know I could play it in 30 seconds, everyone's head will be banging along. It's just really, really easy to get into. It's got powerful vocals, lots of depth, loads of solos and lead guitars and that. So like it's not traditional classic in terms of how it sounds, but it just sort of sounds like a bit, like a little bit like a Trendkill or something like that.
Oh, right,
like
yeah.
That kind of like groove, old school heavy metal Pantera-ish sort of vibe to it, but in a modern package. So yeah, Vindictive Retribution, which is my favorite song from their album.
I don't think I know anything. I don't know anything. I don't even recognize the name of the band.
It's that whole thing that we suffer from, isn't it? Like, what ones did I grab to review? Which ones did you grab?
Okay, my number 8 then. It's actually a single as well. It doesn't actually come from an album or an EP or anything like that. It is the song. It is the song Hive by Tribe of Ghosts. Tribe of Ghosts, obviously industrial post-metal band, been making hella waves over the last couple of years. Played Bloodstock 2 years in a row, put it that way, on 2 different stages, and have been releasing singles this year. The latest one is False Gods, which is another banger as well. But fucking Hive, man. This is heavy. This is fast, chaotic, frenetic. It is amazingly noisy in that sense, but it's also got these emphatic industrial effects, all mixed in with a sort of cinematic style. Really, really powerful track. Easily, I think, my favorite track of theirs these days. So yeah, really blew me away, that one. So yeah, that's it. Tribe of Ghosts, Hive.
So what are we on? We're on 8, and my 8th one then. The song is called Blood Wedding. It's by the band Drama Noir, from the album Nightfall Upon the Asylum. So came out quite earlier in the year, but it's an album, like it's a top album. Is this I don't know if this has always been my favorite on it. It's another one of those albums. This is definitely my favorite at the moment. It came out in May and it still gets regular play. Really? It's symphonic black metal. They're a Greek band, very, very talented band, very, very powerful, lots of orchestration, cool names as well, because they have that. I'm assuming they're stage names because, like, the Psychon and Mephisto. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe that's their names, and that's kind of cool as well. It looks like they put a lot of effort into it, and I think Blood Wedding for me on that album, but just generally over this year, is just one of the catchiest songs ever. It really, like, considering it's symphonic black metal, it does have many components of like more standard sort of riffs and drums, drum blasts and beats and everything like that. It's got quite like you got like an intro that's got drums and riffs sort of hammering away, a choir coming in, and you can start getting some violins and some symphony coming in with it. They'll then just drop down into like a almost thrashy sort of section for a while, and then kind of convert from that into the black metal sort of stuff. Um, like I said, orchestration is in it. It's on point. It is symphonic, but it's not symphonic to the point where the symphony is the prominent instruments. The drums and the guitars are way more prominent, with the symphony kind of almost coming in at phases. A lot of the time in intros or in instrumental parts within the song. But when the band are sort of taking stage, I really like the fact they did that. Actually, the symphony sort of really, really drops back quite far into the background, and it sort of feels more like a traditional, maybe more like Black and Death at times, but black metal track. And then because of that, when the symphony comes back in, it just sounds like even fucking huger because you kind of forgot that bit, and all of a sudden there's like a big chorus, and that comes back in again. So it's a really, really strong album. They're a really talented band. I think I don't like even know like genuinely if they're like new. I really don't. Oh no, there you go. I did write it down. This was their third album, so they're not yeah. So they've got experience. But it's a phenomenal album, and yeah, it's my favorite song on it.
Very interesting. Okay, number 7. I have a problem here. Is I haven't written one song down. I've written 2, and I said to my wife
again.
No, I said to my wife, I'm going to talk, and then I'm just going to decide of which one to do. So it is from the band, the symphonic Black and Death metal band Ghosts of Atlantis. And it is from, of course, the album Riddles of the Sycophants. And I have 2 songs, and I can't quite decide between the 2. Because one, I think is the quintessential. If someone said to me, play me a song of Ghosts of Atlantis that will give you the best example of this band off the new album, I would choose Lands of Snow. I'd say, there we go. There's the symphonic, there's the heaviness, there's the grandeur, the cinematic value. Everything is there in that track. But if I just listen to the odd song here and there, I might often go to a different track because it just hits me so right. And it is Behind the Wall, which has such wonderful melody. Gives me Cradle of Filth vibes at certain times and stuff like that. Got a really, really unique set of voices in this. The clean is amazing on this. I find myself when I was on my way up to meet you guys at Fear Factory, I traveled up on my own. I was listening to this album over again, and I kept just replaying this song over and over again on the way up there. And there's an example. So I am going to choose
So, but anyway, I'm trying to sell it as in like if you do listen to it, you should experience
Let's do the whole
thing
package, yeah.
But what I've done is I've chosen from this the first part of it, which is called Capital One, capital with a K. I think it would take all of about 15 seconds at the start of this song for everyone to be like, "Oh shit, that's amazing!" The first part of it, like they actually sing probably the first minute of it. It is just vocals, harmonized and everything like that in that kind of finster force. We're from the forest, kind of slightly folk tint to it, but also a bit gruff. Before then the music starts coming in, and then it goes through all of the different transitions they do, big choruses, big solos, folk elements in the solos, dropping back to just clean singing, two harsh vocalists going at the same time as two clean vocalists all doing different tones. It's got a lot. The band do bring a lot. It's an amazing accomplished 40-minute piece of work, but Capital One, the way it starts off for me is the bit that excites me the most of it. So that's what I've chosen.
40 minutes long and it's an EP.
Yeah, that's bad, isn't it?
That's a piss take.
I genuinely have. It's not in my list at all. Because I've had this a couple of times recently, actually. There was one album that I reviewed quite recently that had something like 16 tracks in it, and it was in total 12 minutes long.
Ah, yeah.
And then I was like, shit, man.
Do you love it, though, when you pick up an album like that? Sometimes when I'm doing a review and I'll be like, oh, it's a grindcore album, banging. I know it's going to be fucking 20-odd minutes. It's going to have 50 tracks, but it's going to be an easy write because of that.
Yeah, you know what I'm like, man. I still write like 400 words for each one of those tracks.
Yes, indeed. There is that. Yeah, sometimes your introductions are longer than my actual fucking reviews.
I'm trying to sell the band, man.
There it is. Okay, my number 6 is the band Maru, a Liverpool post-sludge metal band, and their debut album Soul Cultist was released this year. This album will appear in another list, I'll tell you now. So that's how good it is. Because I generally was blown away by the simple fact that when I saw post-sludge, I was like, okay, it's just us adding words together. Post and sludge to me doesn't really work, or it doesn't sound like it should work because one will dominate the other. And you'll either be like, well, what do you mean by sludge? Or what do you mean by post? This was the perfect example of marrying that enthralling post-atmospheric sounds with that really grubby, filthy, sludgy sound. They actually fucking nailed it. I think it is one of the best examples, and it is a jaw-dropping release. I could have chosen any single track, but I've chosen the finale of it called Rite of Embers, because this is everything in one as far as I'm concerned. It is the embodiment of the darker, epic side of this band, a post-epic that has soul-wrenching melody. It's powerful. It's got passion, space of heaviness. And my God, the final few minutes, it's gobsmacking stuff. The journey up to this point was phenomenal, but like, it's just, we talked about this with other albums, I think, when we've done like track by tracks and all that, man. When you nail that finale, when you nail it, this is what they did here. They nailed it. So Rite of Embers, that's my 6th favorite track of the year.
Doing really well so far in terms of like no crossover or anything.
Some unique ones.
Yeah. So my number 6 then, probably one of the greatest things to happen to me this year, actually, this song, album and band. So it's by The Circle, from the album of Awakening, and the song is called Ruins, My Dying World. For about potentially the 4th or 5th time in a row, they are a symphonic black / doom metal band. They're also, again, it seems to be a trend for me as well, they're also German. The album of Awakening, it came out back in August. I was a big fan of it. I think I spent a lot of time at pre-Coalition Fest trying to, do that whole thing. Oh, listen to it through the phone. Yeah, listen to how good it sounds.
Yeah, through a phone. It sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really know like anything about this band pre-listening to this album. You know, they're a three-piece. They've only been around an awful long time. They formed in 2021 around the vocalist, who's a person called Asim Sira, who is from the band Winter Sun.
Oh,
Or
there it is.
ex Winter
Ex
Sun.
Winter Sun.
So this isn't like a side project. This is a legit sort of thing. Um, it is doomy. It is symphonic. It is dark. It is black. And the very first song on the album is this one here. And it's 8.5 minutes long. And I always felt like it's quite a bold move. You know, like first song, we're going to hit you with, you don't know who we are or anything like that. Here's an 8.5 minute long track. But it has all the things I kind of love from this genre, you know, it's like a sort of melancholic kind of melody that you kind of instantly get the feeling from this is that like, oh, this isn't designed to make me feel that much better. You know, this is potentially going to have the opposite effect. It does have lots of heaviness in it. You know, when it goes heavy, it does go very, very hard on the black metal side of things, which I also like because I think that contrast works wonderfully. Very, very strong vocals, lots of power, lots of dark riffs, happy to drop away from the speed and drop into that doomier sort of sound. Plenty of moments of melody, bits of clean singing coming in, harmonizing, violins that join in. It's what you probably expect from the genre, but you know, it's hard to obviously put it into words. You still have to do it well. And I
Yes,
think
of
these
course.
guys do it phenomenally well. You know, to me, just going, oh, it's got all the things that you would expect in symphonic black / doom / post metal.
Doesn't mean anything, does it?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it is done so well in songs that really kind of capture, you know, the imagination, suck you in, like you feel the atmosphere, you know, you feel like you're on the journey with them. I think it's the first song on the album. It is my favorite on the album. You know, it is genuinely, it has been all the way through. I love a lot of stuff on the album, but it's always been my favorite. So
it's rare that the first song does it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can love the first song, but often like sometimes the peaks and valleys, you kind of end up getting to the end and be like, oh, that one and so on is cool as fuck. Speaking of the end then, my next one, number 5, is by the band Din of Celestial Birds, the instrumental cinematic post-rockers debut album, The Night is for Dreamers, was released in August of this year. And again, could have chose any track I wanted here. But I've gone for the one that I think has the most emotion in it, really. The one that I think hits the melody more than anything else. One of the things that makes Dinner Celestial Birds special, I should point this out, really, is the fact that they have 3 guitarists. 3 guitarists, 1 bass, 1 drums, 5-piece overall, which allows them to do a lot more intricate than most bands in the instrumental world can often be. This album has a lot of unique stuff to offer, a lot of unique tells, stuff that's even the stuff that's even fun. It's not all about being sad and miserable and being all like melody and all that. But ultimately, the last one, Love You, But It Is Killing Me. I Love You, But It Is Killing Me is the final track, and it's simply spectacular. Airy melodies, monumental atmosphere, a really cool spoken word section. So technically not actually instrumental because of the spoken word section, but there you go. A blistering tone shift as well, because this band can go fast and it can go heavy, but it is pure and bridal emotion, particularly as it deals with the struggle of addiction and mental illness as well. It's got an important message behind it too. It's heartfelt, it's sorrowful, it's stunning. It is what I would, that and another track would be my 2. But like, all right, listen to these 2 to understand what Dinner Celestial Birds can offer you. So yeah, I Love You, But It Is Killing Me.
Okay, so my 5th now then is where I'm going to bring the 2 in as well.
Oh, okay.
So it is also Ghosts of Atlantis.
Cool.
And it was interesting listening to what you were saying, because I had the exact same debate in my head. Now, I genuinely believe that Lands of Snow is the best song Ghosts of Atlantis have written across their whole thing. I think it is the most. I think they've written a lot of stuff that I fucking love, but this is the most accomplished. Probably closest, I think, to perfection as I could like think, you know, in terms of what it offers. Like, you know, that whole, like you said, that whole cinematic vibe. But it's not the song I've been listening to the most recently. It's not the song that if you were to say to me, what's your current favorite? What is it? But that's where I was torn. I was like, oh, do I put my favorite or do I put the song that has been my favorite, probably will be my favorite again? You know, probably the song that out of, you know, I'll be listening to for years to come in Lands of Snow. But then I wanted to put my favorite. So I've gone with my one that I'm obsessed with at the moment, which is the song The Alkanos.
All right.
You know, it's similar, I guess, in terms of it being slightly different, I think, to maybe what I would have expected from Ghost of Atlantis. It still does everything that they do. It's still got the big choruses and the harmonizing between the two vocal styles. But this one hits me a little bit different. I don't really fully understand why. I think it just sounds a bit different. It sounds almost like, you know, that kind of like the ballad, but in the black metal style ballad, you know, like it's got that kind of like melody to it. The chorus is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best choruses overall that they've ever written. And the clean vocals in the chorus, especially in the last one of it, when the last line, he just goes that one extra level higher. Combining
just
the two
touches.
vocalists. Yeah, I just think it's a really, really special song. Yeah, I think it's a special album. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised to have different favorites at different times, you know, and at this point in time where I just happen to be writing the list, the song, when I play that album, I go, oh, what song should I start out or whatever? It's this one that I'll go to.
So one of
and
the biggest,
and then try and sing the fucking thing. Usually,
yeah, good luck with that.
Trying to do Colin's voice in the car. Jesus,
yeah. you sound fucking pitch perfect in the car.
Yeah.
The thing you should take away from this is basically go listen to Lands of Snow if you want to listen. If you know nothing in Ghost Atlantis, go listen to Lands of Snow. We both said the same thing about this particular track. Best example of this band's brilliance. There you go, and then appreciate your individual favorite right now and what I said with Behind the Wall as well. Yeah, get on board the Ghost Atlantis train. Goodness me.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, and hey, it's another year, so this band always gets their way into the list in some way or another. It is the post-metal, progressive post-metal band Thumos, with their latest album, which was Symposium, released earlier this year. In fact, it was released on February 14th. Valentine's Day, but that is because it was a theatrical presentation of Plato's famous dialogue and the god of love, Eros. So there was a theme to it, and it is the track Agathon. This might be my favorite Thumos track overall. It simply is. It is their awe-inspiring post sound with the atmosphere and the beauty in it taken to a greater level. It is immense, but it's that layer of technical detail that is what really hooks. Early in the year when I wrote the review for this, I called this the greatest song they've ever written. About a month ago, I did a track by track with Dan on this album, and it was the first time I'd come back for this album in a while, and I still think that. I've then added to this list, and I listened to it again today, and was like, yep, best song they've written. There it is, Agathon. Utter brilliance. Progressive post brilliance. There's a lot of post in my list. It just happens to be my favorite genre.
Yep. My next one's not a symphonic black metal song. Woo.
What? Outrageous.
Yeah, I know. So my 4th on the list is a song Undying, which is by the band Dragon Corpse. Also featured a few guests, a guy called Jens Tomek and Stefan Gorski-Prince, just to give them a shout out, even though I don't know who they are. From the album The Drakath Saga, which came out all the way back in February this year. Such is my love of this song and this album that, I mean, I can honestly say that not only do I know it word for word, my daughter does as well. We all sing along to it. My missus does. We all think it's like amazing. It is such a fucked up record, man. I'm telling you, like it's mind-bogglingly genius. We actually reacted to the song from it. I don't think it was this one. I can't remember which one it was. And the only way to describe it is like, firstly, on paper, this does not work, which
Yeah.
is power metal slash deathcore. And it's too far away, and it can't possibly work. And it's kind of like if Blind Guardian and Lorna Shore did a song together.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. How's that not
Yeah, yeah.
happened?
Yeah, there's a few, because there's other elements in it too. That's the mad thing about it. I was trying to think who else. So it'd be Blind Guardian, maybe Cattle Decapitation, Lorna Shore, and Amon Amarth, but all do their own style. That's the thing. It's not like they have to do their own style, but it fucking works. I don't know why it works. It's just like, it sounds like it shouldn't. To go from that, like at times like pig squeal sort of guttural grindcore sort of style, to suddenly go from that into clean folkish melody and like back and forth constantly. It is one of the most accomplished pieces of music I think I've ever heard, and it blew me away because I listened to it, reviewed it, read what it was about, and thought, I'm gonna listen to this for the comedy factor because this is gonna suck. I just thought, I like all the styles, but
it's not going to work.
picture it. I cannot see how those two mix. They're too far away on the spectrum. And then as I listened to it and just became more and more obsessed with it, the jumping from this big symphonic bit, this nice clean singing bit, and then all of a sudden another vocalist comes in and he's like hyper sped up, hardcore kind of grindcore gutturals and growls and everything like that. And then the clean comes back in again. Then the violin, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening here? This is amazing. I think the album is a phenomenal piece of work. I hope like this is, the start of like big things for them, or at least trying to get noticed as standards. They're a bit different, right? That's the thing. You say this to this, you go, that's different. Okay, cool. That might stand you in good stead. But if you want to check out anything from them to get you to see if it's for you or not, Undying to be the place I would start.
What a fucking sell, people. I mean, what a fucking sell that is. If you're not intrigued to at least check that track out, let alone the whole fucking thing, like, Jesus Christ, there it is. Bravo, great choice of words. Okay, top three, number three. I don't need to tell you to check this track out, because if you are smart, you would already have checked it out. It comes from Ern. Of course, released their new album, A Feast on Sorrow, in August of this year. An album of brilliance, a follow-up that did what I thought wasn't possible. Top Serpent and Spirit in almost every facet. A unique album with clever writing, really some of the best lyrical content you'll hear all this year, with deep, meaningful, important messages behind it that have a personal thing. But perhaps there's nowhere else that is more apparent than on the finale, which is The Long Goodbye, Where Do Memories Go? The second of two 11-minute tracks as well. But this is Ern's, for me, it's Ern's best written track to date. It is an epic, but it has so much going on for it. That amazing instrumental introduction. Then it's just, from there, it just builds and builds, and layer upon layer of beauty, with heaviness, with groove, with deep meaningfulness behind it. It just keeps going and building and building and building. It's a track that will make you feel something. It really will. Even if maybe you can't relate to the personal message from the band in it, it will have its own relation to you. It is Ern's magnum opus, in my opinion. This may be impossible to ever top. Number three.
The challenge for them there.
Yeah, it is.
We're at number three. All right, so I came out of the symphonic for a bit. I'm going to go back into it again now. So this song is called Reflections of AD by Serenity, from the album Nemesis AD. So Austrian symphonic, quite well-known band, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a fan of them. I wasn't always aware of them, to be totally honest with you. It was the previous album, The Last Night, I think it was called, that kind of made me sort of interested and become quite a fan of them. So when I saw this one drop, which was only back on the 3rd of November, so not that long ago, via Napalm Records, so yeah, I said decent sized band, big label. The album itself, I think, is probably, well, for me, it's definitely the best work that they've ever done out of what I've listened to. It's the most complete album I've heard from them. There isn't a single song on it that I don't like, but Nemesis is the name of the album. Reflections of AD for me is the kind of epic I want from this sort of band. There are slower, more ballad-like songs. There are other faster, sped up, sort of heavier ones, and then there's this one, which is the transition song, the one that changes constantly. It's a long song, like 8-ish minutes long, goes through ballady parts of it, has a very big emphatic kind of chorus, has a few additional singers in there. I love his voice anyway. I'm a big fan of his vocals, lots of solos, lots of symphonic kind of touches and all that. So this is like that kind of like what you imagine in your head. You've got a symphonic / power metal band, and they're going to do that one big epic track on an album, and this is that one on there. I also really like the fact that they basically, all their albums take inspiration from either factual or myth in history, and they're all concept albums. But this is a concept I've never really kind of known anything about, and I think that's quite exciting. The Last Night was about the kind of King Arthur and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, you're familiar, right? You kind of know stuff about it. Whereas this whole concept was done around the life and paintings of a man called Albrecht Dürer, who was a painter in the German Renaissance.
Yeah, I recognize the name. Yeah.
So and actually, like one of the just only little touches, but if you watch the video for this song, Reflections of AD, I think it's a song that is in the video of it. It ends like it shows paintings from the artist and all that sort of stuff, and so you can see the actual original painting. And then when you hear that song again, while looking at the picture of that painting, it all makes sense. Like before that, it's just a fucking great song, but it's difficult to kind of understand how a painting gives 8.5 minutes of a story in a song. But then you see the painting and you can kind of go, oh, okay, I see what they're doing.
You almost want to see the painting in real life in a gallery, maybe somewhere, stand in front of it, look at it, put the song on some headphones.
Yeah,
and
stand there for 8.5 minutes.
and see what you get from that. That would be very unique. Cool.
Even if I die tomorrow, there's a reason left to cry.
Number 2. If you follow us on social media, you'll know that I control Instagram in particular, and you'll know that I post a lot sometimes about certain bands and all that. And this next band has seen a lot of posts from me, thanks to just experiencing them. It is Underdark, and it is the album Managed Decline, which was their second album, released actually on the 24th of November, so quite recent as the time of recording. It's a band that literally has a genre that's perfect for me. It's post-blackened metal, which has, and the sound is familiar to the likes of Maul and Ghostbath and all of that, which is something I adore. This works perfectly. This album Managed Decline, the fact it was a concept album, so to speak, a fake story, but based in real life, based around the idea of residents of a post-industrial town in the Midlands over generations, dealing with the kind of Thatcherite neoliberalism era and the effects of what that did with the closure of mines and things like that, and how it affected people's lives and so on. Fascinating stuff. And it is an incredible album. But holy fucking shit. And it could have been my number 1. The only reason number 1, well, again, we're going to want to explain, but it's the song Managed Decline 2, in brackets 2nd of November 2004. This, from the moment it starts, you will know. You said this earlier on, but I'm going to do the same thing. Within the first 15 seconds, you'll be like, yep, this is it. Just that immediate crash and that scream of a vocal and that deep melody that runs through. You'll be like straight away, immediately recognize the style of music. If you know your atmospheric post-black metal sound, and you'll be like, okay, this is interesting. And it's a long track. It goes on a while. It's got a lot of peaks and valleys with massive melodies, but also these incredibly harsh black, because this band has a lot of black metal in it. I've seen them live now as well, and they're just as noisy there as well. I have listened to this song. This song here has the most plays of the year, and it only came out on the 24th of November. I mean, right, admittedly, I had it a few weeks before. I've obviously got to say that. It wasn't that I just started listening to the 24th. I had it about a month before through Church Road Records. So I've had plenty of time in that. But the moment it came out, it also, it's been still played. I'm still listening to it. I was listening to it again today. I put it on, and it's not like happy music, but man, it makes me fucking feel happy. So that's my number 2, Manage Decline 2, from Manage Decline.
Number 2. Right. So it won't be a surprise that this band is in there, but I guess, like, depending on how well you know the album, it wasn't an easy choice on what song originally. But like, you know how it is sometimes, you kind of go through them all, you're going, oh yeah, but that one. And then I settled on the one that I play the most, never skip, that sort of thing. So, and this is the song The Insignificance, which is from the band Cattle Decapitation, from their album Terracite.
There it is.
Came out on the 12th of May.
Yeah.
Unsurprising. No one, certainly anyone who knows me knows that I love this album. I think it is amazing. I remember when I listened to it, but it was mainly to do with Death Atlas. That was the reason why going into this, because I think Death Atlas is such an amazing piece of work that I could, similar to what you said about Urn, I didn't think that can be surpassed. And then Terracite came out, and in the build up to Terracite, I didn't think it would be surpassed because, like, it's a concept album and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, all right, doesn't matter anyway because I'll just listen to Death Atlas again. But then it came out. I loved everything about it. I went through different phases with it. Scourge of the Offspring was a favorite for a long time. Storm Upstairs, pretty much every song on it's had a turn. But the one in all of that, no matter whatever other song was my favorite, was the other one that I always played as well. And still, like, just not constantly, but regularly listen to, is the song The Insignificance. Obviously, Cattle Decapitation, musically, stylistically, it's not different. It is what you would expect from them. It has some moments in it that I think are different. It has all the things I love about them. It has those change up in the vocals. It has plenty of just in your face crushing heaviness, with that snarly, gurgly sort of vocal style, and all the tones that he brings as well, like whether he's going really, really deep or bringing a higher one in, little moments of that singing style, whatever we call that, it is singing to me. I guess a lot of people would say, oh, that's not singing, but it's singing.
Of course it is.
But also this has an ending to it that I'm not saying they haven't done this before. I don't know a huge amount about all of their back catalogue. Probably really becoming a fan at Monolith of Inhumanity onwards. But like it's just different, right? It's just, it suddenly drops away from everything, comes in with this huge roar, and then drops into this groove beat instead, and brings in these layers of vocals where it's whispered at first, and then there's a shout, and then there's a bit more whisper, and it gets louder and louder, and then just suddenly stops. And like, just done. That's it. Like, just leaves that ringing in your ears, and you're done. You're out onto the next track, and it's memorable, and you're like, oh shit, to the point where you're like, I've got to listen to that again. Like I need to hear how that happened again. And it's almost that sudden stop, I think, that does that a little bit, because it doesn't give you time to get over that and then fade out or end with another chorus or anything like that. It just does this big, for the style of music, what I would describe as epic ending to a song. And then as you're like right in it, and it's now at full volume, and all the layered vocals are all going at the same time, then just boom, done. And you're like, oh, what the fuck? Stop that again. So yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
is, I don't know, it's both disappointing and fascinating to me in a certain degree that obviously your passion with this album. I have struggled heavily to connect with this album all year. I've tried, and I like it. I like it a lot. There are songs I think that are great, of course, but I don't have the same passion you do for it. Simple as that.
Not post enough for you, mate.
Well, isn't it interesting there? My number one track is not post in the slightest. In fact, I when I wrote the review for this album back in April of this year, I wrote in it and I made a claim that I still sticks today. The most creative music we're getting within our world, our wide world of rock metal idea, comes from drone. I now strongly believe that creativity, the most creative music, is coming from the drone world. And that was influenced by a number of albums leading up to it that I'd heard from drone bands that were fascinatingly clever and unique. And then this album, this band came my way, and they're called Bolt. However, you will struggle to search for that because it actually is square close bracket B space O space L space T space close square bracket Bolt, like that. And the album was bracket 05 close bracket as well, and it was their 5th album, and they're a 3-piece, 2 basses and a drum. That's what they do, instrumental. And the track is 32. The track is called 32, and it is unbelievable. It is fucking phenomenal. It is just mesmerizing. It's an abrasive percussion level of noise. But my God, does it have these common themes with the likes of shoegaze and all of that as well. It is an absolutely stunning. And it's the opener. And that was it. It was the opening track. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, this is immense. And obviously the rest of the album's stunning as well, of course. But just the boldness and the imagination and the creativity that goes in this one piece of music, just, if you know it, well, after that initial ringing melody, and then you get that bassy thrum that kicks in and starts to just almost twist around your mind, you're sold. I love it. I absolutely love it. When I wrote this list today, I wrote this list earlier today as time recording, finished it up. I had this in there, and I was like, where am I going to put it? Where am I going to put it? And I put it on my music player, and I was like, it's got to go number 1. I'm listening to it again, and I'm just like, wow. So yeah, 32 by the band Bolt.
Good luck spelling it.
Yes, good luck with that. Even if you have to search for it on our website, if you put in Bolt, you will not find it. You have to put in that closed brackets as well.
All right, my number 1 then.
Yes.
I'm wondering if like you might be surprised by this. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if like you'd be like, huh? Okay, I didn't see that coming. But
okay.
So the song I've gone for my favorite song of this year is Black Mountain by Orbit Culture from the album Descent.
You're right, actually. I would not have.
Yeah. Oh my God, I am obsessed with this song. Like, it is fucking unreal how many times I've played this song and how many times I still play it. I would say on average, even today, 3 times a day. I fucking love it. It is, I don't know what it is. It just clicks with me in such a way. That whole rhythm, that really, really heavy in your face, but like still got that bit of groove going. Yeah, you know, the vocals that are kind of barked at you, and then like that slight change up for a chorus. But it's that whole dun, 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 you know, that I'm just like, oh, this is fucking heaven. First time I listened to that song, I was in love with it. It come out, well, I didn't even really come out in the summer, wasn't it? Like August.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You know, and I listened to that album and I liked the album a lot. And there's a fair few songs in it actually that I probably obsess over, but Black Mountain for me is the best metal song I've listened to this year. I fucking love it, honestly.
that then. My number 10 was an Orbit Culture song, and your
Yeah.
number 1 was an Orbit Culture song. Check that out. That's the only band we crossed over in any way, state, shape, or form in it. Oh, Ghost of Atlantis.
Yeah.
2. It's not too bad. That's 2 bloody good bands to cross over on, to be fair. There you go. That's it. 10 tracks each. 10 of our favorite tracks of the year. 10 best tracks individually that we think, as we've just expressed. What do you reckon? You got any thoughts on that? You got your own? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.